Have you ever been talking to someone and realized you're doing everything except looking at their eyes? You're nodding, you're listening, you're answering all the right things. But your gaze is doing parkour. It's on the floor, the wall, the corner of the room, the coffee cup, the ceiling fan, the imaginary speck of dust that suddenly becomes the most fascinating object in the universe. And the moment your eyes accidentally lock with theirs, your body does that tiny internal flinch. Like your nervous system just whispered, too close. If you relate to that, you're not broken, you're not rude, and you're definitely not alone. Because avoiding eye contact isn't just a social habit. It's often a psychological signal. Sometimes it's shyness, sometimes it's overstimulation. Sometimes it's a learned survival skill. And sometimes it's the brain trying to manage threat, intensity, or exposure. And the most common misunderstanding is that people who avoid eye contact are hiding something, or they don't care, or they lack confidence. But psychologically, the truth is more interesting. A lot of the time, avoiding eye contact is your brain protecting you from something that feels bigger than a normal conversation. Let's walk into it. Imagine you're in a casual setting, maybe a shop, a classroom, work, a family gathering, and someone starts talking to you. You want to be present, but eye contact feels like a spotlight. Like the moment you meet their gaze, you're not just listening, you're being seen. And being seen can feel intense. Eye contact is one of the most powerful social signals humans have. Babies track eyes before they understand language. Animals use eye contact to signal dominance, safety, threat, curiosity. In human adults, eye contact can mean attention, connection, challenge, intimacy, judgment. It's not neutral, it's loaded. Which means if your nervous system is sensitive, eye contact can feel like touching an exposed wire. This is why some people avoid it even when they're confident in their words. It's not that they don't know what to say, it's that eye contact turns the volume up. Let's talk neuroscience for a second, but in a human way. Your brain has a threat detection system. One key player is the amygdala, which helps scan for danger and emotional intensity. When something feels socially threatening, like being judged, rejected, or challenged, your threat system can activate even if nothing bad is happening. And eye contact is one of the strongest triggers for that system in some people because it's direct. It's like the difference between someone standing near you versus someone stepping right into your personal space. Eye contact can feel like emotional proximity. Some studies suggest that direct gaze can increase arousal and emotional processing. And in anxious individuals, it can be experienced as more threatening or overwhelming. You're not imagining it. Your body can literally react to being looked at. Now add in a modern twist. Not everyone grew up practicing eye contact. A lot of our communication is now mediated by screens where you can look present while actually staring at a camera lens, not someone's eyes. So for some people, real-life eye contact can feel unusually intense. I like suddenly switching from low definition to ultra HD. You see everything. They see you, and that can be a lot. But here's the part that most people miss. Avoiding eye contact isn't always fear of others. Sometimes it's fear of your own internal reaction. Because eye contact can trigger self-consciousness. The moment you meet someone's gaze, you become aware of your face, your expression, your posture, your voice, your timing. It's like you're suddenly watching yourself from the outside. That's why people who overthink often struggle with eye contact. Not because they're socially clueless, but because their brain starts doing two jobs at once, having the conversation and monitoring the conversation. And that monitoring is exhausting. Psychologists call this self-focused attention, and it's a common feature in social anxiety. But instead of being immersed in the interaction, your attention turns inward. Do I look weird? Am I smiling enough? Did that sound stupid? Are they noticing my nervousness? You start trying to manage the impression you're making. Eye contact is like a trigger for that inner surveillance camera, so your gaze escapes. Not because you don't care, but because you're trying to stay functional. There's also a very simple sensory reason. For some people, eye contact is overstimulating. If you're highly sensitive, neurodivergent, or easily overloaded by input, looking at someone's eyes can demand too much processing. Faces carry a lot of information. micro expressions, emotion shifts, implied meaning, social rules. Some brains process that as a rich, complex data stream. If you're already using mental energy to listen and respond, eye contact might feel like adding another heavy task. So your brain does something smart. It triages. It says, I can either look at their eyes and lose my words, or I can look away and actually think. That's why some people listen better when they're not making eye contact. They're not being disrespectful. They're protecting cognitive bandwidth. And yes, this is especially common in neurodivergent experiences, including autism spectrum differences, where eye contact can feel uncomfortable or distracting rather than socially bonding. But it also shows up in many non-autistic people who are anxious, sensitive, or simply processing heavy. Now let's talk about culture because this matters a lot. In many Western contexts, eye contact is treated like a moral signal. Ah, look at me when I'm talking to you. As if eye contact equals honesty and respect. But globally, eye contact has different meanings. In some cultures, prolonged eye contact with elders or authority figures can be considered disrespectful. In others, direct gaze can be flirtatious, challenging, or inappropriate depending on the context. So sometimes what looks like avoidance is actually learned politeness. Your brain might be following rules you absorbed early. And that brings us to the deeper layer, learning. If you grew up in an environment where being noticed led to criticism, embarrassment, or conflict, you may have learned to make yourself smaller, less visible, less targetable. Eye contact makes you visible. If you were the kid who got called out a lot, why are you looking like that? Fix your face. Stop staring. Don't give me that look. You might have learned that eye contact is dangerous because it can provoke attention. So you stop doing it. Not consciously, automatically. Because your nervous system remembers. This is why avoiding eye contact can be a form of self-protection. It's a subtle, please don't engage me too directly signal. A way to reduce social intensity. A way to keep control over the interaction. Now here's a surprising twist. Sometimes avoiding eye contact is not about fear at all. Sometimes it's about intimacy. Eye contact can feel intimate even in non-romantic situations. It's connecting, it's presence, it's emotional exposure. Some people are great at talking about facts but struggle when a conversation becomes emotionally close. So they look away, they laugh, they change the topic. They keep it light. Not because they don't feel, because they feel too much. Eye contact can crack the surface. It can invite connection that you don't feel ready to hold. This is why in intense conversations, conflict, vulnerability, attraction, you'll often notice people's gaze shifting. Eyes are powerful, they reveal. And if you're someone who's learned to stay guarded, eyes can feel like betrayal. Like they might give away what you're trying to keep contained. But I want to frame this gently. Avoiding eye contact doesn't mean you're doomed socially. It doesn't mean you're stuck. It means your brain has preferences and protections. The real question is, does it bother you? If you avoid eye contact and you feel fine, and your relationships are fine, and your communication works, it might just be your style. You might prefer softer gaze. You might connect better through tone, words, and presence rather than stare-based bonding. But if you avoid eye contact and it causes suffering, if it makes you feel ashamed, misunderstood, or anxious, then it's worth exploring not as a flaw, but as a signal. Because the goal isn't to force yourself to stare like a robot, the goal is to feel safe enough to be present. So how do you build that safety? You start by changing the story in your head. Instead of eye contact is a test I'm failing, try eye contact is just information. It's optional. It's adjustable. It's a dial, not a switch. Then you practice soft eye contact, not intense, not unbroken. Think of it like looking at someone's face, then glancing away naturally, then returning. You're not trying to win eye contact. You're building tolerance, like dipping your toes in cold water instead of jumping in. You can also use focus points. Looking at the bridge of someone's nose, their eyebrows, or just near the eyes can create the appearance of eye contact without the intensity. This helps if your nervous system reacts strongly to direct gaze. And most importantly, you can practice in safe settings. People you trust. Low-stakes conversations. You let your body learn. Nothing bad happens when I'm seen. Because that's what this is, underneath everything, being seen. If you've been trained by personality, culture, experience, or fear that being seen is risky, your eyes will try to protect you. So, I want to leave you with a perspective shift. Avoiding eye contact isn't a sign you're weak. It's a sign your brain is managing intensity the best way it knows how. And that can be a strength. It means you're sensitive, you're perceptive, you're careful, you're tuned in. You just might need gentler ways of connecting, ways that respect your nervous system instead of forcing it. If this video hit home, tell me in the comments. When do you avoid eye contact the most? Strangers, authority figures, people you're attracted to, or when the conversation gets emotional? And if you've learned to get more comfortable over time, what helped? A job that forced practice? A supportive friend? Therapy? Just time? Subscribe if you want more videos like this, where we take a small behavior and uncover the deeper human reasons behind it. Because your habits aren't random, they're your nervous system telling a story, and you can learn to read it.